Phil Matier and I asked former San Francisco mayor his thoughts on Governor Newsom's first proposed budget.
I thought it was Jerry Brown all over again, except for one or two items. Jerry never touched homelessness. Newsom is touching homelessness. But Newsom is smart in that he looks good presenting Jerry's budget.
Well, he definitely took responsibility for it, even if the numbers had come from the previous administration. And to Mayor Brown's point, he did touch homelessness. He definitely talked about kindergarten, resources for full-day kindergarten, which is something he talked about on the campaign trail that Brown was not interested in. So there are definitely things in there.
It looked like he made a series of one-time down payments on everything he promised in the campaign. The question is, do you make the second payment and the third payment, given the economic uncertainty?
In reality, he did take a second step when he said, we're not going just for free tuition community colleges for 1 year. We're now going for 2 years on free community colleges. He said, in terms of kids going to school, kindergarten, all day now, not just part of the day.
Okay, so what he's trying to do is address this big issue called economic inequity. Them that's got, and them that don't. Right. Is this a blueprint for running for president?
It might be, but that doesn't make it wrong for California, right? Just because it might work elsewhere doesn't mean that that it's wrong here. Although, even in his inauguration, it was very clear that he regards California as the model for America. He even called California a nation state.
I would hope we could at least give him 1 week of not running for president. He's trying to do the job of the governorship, and he is doing so far. He's pretty good at it.
Well, and also he looks like he's actually finally having some fun. I mean, he really enjoyed himself. I know it's weird, but he enjoyed himself talking for nearly an hour, introducing the budget and then answering questions for an hour. It didn't look to me like he was just sort of enduring this thing. He was really getting into it.
It was a doctoral degree presentation, and he's been waiting a long time to do that, and it was less than 7 hours.
You know, I think an important role of the governor is being sort of a steward of the budget and the economy. And it seems smart to me to not create new programs that you might not be able to fund later. That's
right, because we've seen that happen. Governor Gray Davis, for example, got in a lot of trouble for raising people's pay, for example, with these sort of found funds. And then when things went south, there was a serious inability to continue to pay those, and we ended up in a lot of trouble. So I think he was trying to be very responsible for that. I thought the other really good thing that he mentioned was that he talked to the legislature before he presented his proposal, so that there should not be, or he's trying to minimize the fighting that happens after the proposal when they say, no, we want all this money for these other programs. He tried to do that ahead of time and really minimize the friction, so that the final budget will likely look a lot like the one that he actually proposed, which was smart. Speaking of lawmakers, there is a new round of lawmakers in Sacramento. So Phil Matier and I asked former San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown what he thinks about where the state is going.
Well, it means that we have taken the step that other states are going to take. The litany of people that got sworn in, and the method by which they got sworn in, and the way in which they got sworn in is tomorrow for every other state. It's today for California. Believe me, you don't have a gay statewide office holder running your insurance operations. You don't have all your money in the hands of 2 Asians, 1 controller and 1 treasurer. I mean, it's really fascinating to see how incredible California is for tomorrow as an example for every other state.
Are we our own nation state now?
Oh, yeah, apparently. Well, yeah, that was a term that Newsom used in introducing the budget. Because, you know, a nation state like California, and I thought, wait a minute, we're still part of the rest of the nation. Having said that, I don't think one-party rule is necessarily a good thing to look forward to in the future, and I'm hoping that will somehow change. It's just not good to have Democrats running everything.
She has a point. Is it healthy for it to be one party all the way down, diverse as it may be, all the way down, one ideology all the way through the cabinet?
That would be my attitude if I was on the losing side. In view of the fact that there are 60 members of California State Assembly, the House that I used to preside over, 29 members of the state Senate, and believe me, the president pro tem of that body, if it had been under John Burton's leadership, you would still be paying. If it had been under my leadership, you'll still pay. So it's not bad.
Oh, of course. But, this is the same thing that some Democrats complained about Washington, D.C., that when it was controlled by Republicans prior to the midterms, that one-party rule is a really bad thing, except for when you're the party in the majority.
No, I understand spending, and I understand controls on spending, two-party system. I understand debate about ideology and the direction we go. But, Mayor Brown, I ask you this. Is it healthy? Because is a one-party system willing to take audits and hard looks at itself in terms of just actual performance, or are they too afraid of embarrassing each other?
Nancy Pelosi's success at becoming the speaker again clearly demonstrates when you're in charge and you have the numbers, as the Republicans did, they did not perform, and the voters ousted them. The Democrats in Sacramento have got to worry about that.
Now, even when you have essentially one-party rule, it's not a monolith, right? And so there are different factions even within the ranks of Democrats.
Right. So what ends up happening when we have a situation like this is that moderate Democrats become more powerful because they can either team up with people who are further to the left or further to the right and, go with Republicans to block legislation. So it actually is beneficial to the folks in the middle, again, what we might call moderate Democrats, to have this set up. And so look for them to be wielding the power since they can kind of, go with either side and determine who the winner is.